Hi everyone. Today we are going to discuss about Python language fundamentals, which includes variables, data types, typecasting, and input-output operations. Before discussing about those things, first let's have a small introduction about Python programming language. Python is a very popular programming language now. It was created by Guido van Rossum and released in the year 1991. It is used for web development, software development, mathematics, and system scripting. What can Python do? Python can be used on server side to create web applications, can be used alongside software to create workflows. Python can be able to connect to databases. It can also use to read and modify files. Python can be used to handle big data and perform complex mathematics. Python can be used for rapid prototyping or for production ready software development. Exactly why we have to learn Python when we have many other programming languages existent, why we have to learn. Python works on different platforms: Windows, Mac, Linux, Raspberry Pi, etc. Python has a very simple syntax similar to the English language so that everybody can learn easily. Python has syntax that allows developers to write programs with fewer lines of code than other programming languages. Python runs an interpreter system, meaning that code can be executed as soon as it is written. This means that prototyping can be very quick. Python is an interpreter based programming languages. It executes the code line by line. And Python can be treated in procedural way and can be object oriented way or a functional way. Now, how to create variables? What is the requirement of variables and how to create variables? Generally, whenever you want to store anything in a computer or in a machine, so you need to learn about variables. Variables are containers for storing the data. Whenever you want to store anything in our real world, let's say you want to store sugar, you need a container, right? In that container, we will pour sugar so that we will store. Similarly, whenever you want to store anything, here variables are acts as container for storing data, and variable name, the name given to these container refers to the value. Python variable is nothing but it is a named memory location. You can say that it is a named memory location means generally your computer memory is divided into slots. Each slot will have a unique address. Let's say it starts from 1, it increases until your size. Depends on your memory configuration, it will be divided into either 8 bits or 16 bits, so on like that. But each slot will have a unique address. Always we can't refer, we can't, whenever you want to retrieve the data from this memory, let's say you have stored 10 here, whenever you want to access this data item, you can't, it is difficult to access with the memory location, so that we will give a name to this location, let's say x. Exactly here the variable is name given to memory location. To this memory location we will give some name. With this name you can access the data which is stored in the memory location. So that's why variable is a named memory location or name given to a memory location. So this is how you can create variables in Python. In other programming languages, let's say C, first you have to declare which kind of data you are trying to store into that, then we will assign the value. But in Python, there is no declaration. Declaration is not mandatory, it is not required in Python. Based on the value you assign, based on the value you assign, interpreter automatically understands and that kind of data type will be assigned. Means automatically it will converted into data type based on the value you assigned. Whereas in other programming languages, first itself you have to tell, before use, first itself you have to tell the compiler which kind of data you are trying to store. Then you have to store the data. But in Python, based on the assignment, data type will be decided. Let's say now you have stored 10, the data type will be integer, so that the x is integer type variable. Here see, alias is a string type variable. Based on your assignment, name will become string type variable. So no separate declaration is mandatory in Python. Variables do not need to be declared with any particular type and can even change type after they have been set. Let's say you have created a variable that is x and store the value 4 into that, and now x is of type integer because stored an integer value into that, so that x will be integer type. And later on you have stored Sally into same x. Now this 4 will be replaced with Sally. Whenever you print, you will get the output Sally. Python indentation. Indentation is plays important role in Python. Indentation is nothing but spaces. Spaces in the code. When in other programming languages, the indentation is code for readability only. The indentation in Python is very important. In other programming languages, let's say if you take C programming language, if you want to write if block, let's say if a greater than 0, positive. We used to enclose the statements, true block statements, we used to enclose in curly braces. Right. But in Python programming language, we don't use these curly braces. To indicate block of code, we don't use curly braces in the Python. Instead, we use indentation. In other programming languages, this indentation is used to increase the readability only, but in Python, it is mandatory. This much space, let's say at least one space you have to use, but you have to maintain proper space to mention those statements into that block. So proper spacing maintenance is mandatory in Python to define a block of code. Casting. Typecasting. Typecasting is nothing but converting one data type to another data type is typecasting. If you want to specify the type of variable, this can be done with casting. Here, x is equals to str of 3. Now, 3 will be, even though you have specified here an integer, but it will be converted into string. Then that will be stored in x. Now, the x data type is string and the value will be something like this enclosed in quotations. And y is equals to integer of 3. Y will be now int. 3 will be stored as, will be converted as integer and that will be stored as int, so that the type of y is 3. And z is float. Float means it contains decimal values. That's why in z it will store 3.0. For example, if you want to get the data type of your variable, you will be having a type function. Type is a function which is used to return the data type of your variable. Now you have stored an integer into x. So now the x is integer type. Into y you have stored string. So the y is type of string. Whenever you print is a function which is used to print the statement at console. Type of x first it will be evaluated. Type of x is integer type, so that it prints class int. Okay. And then print y. Y is of type John. John is a string data type, so that it prints class string. It is a very case sensitive programming languages. It is a case sensitive programming language, Python. Here, small a you have stored it as 4, capital A you have stored it as Sally. So, small a and capital A both are not equal. So, capital A will not override small a. In the earlier example, we have taken x equal 4, x equals Sally. Both are same case. So that the value of x will override with Sally. But here you see the value of a is 4 and capital A is Sally. Both are treated differently. It is a case sensitive. Variable names, while giving the names to variables, we must follow some rules. Those rules are can have a name, either short name or a descriptive name, but we need to follow some rules. Either it must be start with a letter or a underscore character and cannot start with a number. It can start with either underscore age is valid. Okay, and variable name should not start with a number, one age, this is invalid. And a variable name can contain only alphanumeric characters and underscores. No other special characters are allowed, like for example age dot man. So these kind of special characters are not allowed. Dollar age. No special character is allowed. One age. These are all invalid cases. And these are variable names are case sensitive. This age and capital A and this. These three are different variables. And you are not allowed to use Python keywords as variable names. Means, let's say you want to give variable name else. No, not possible. If, not possible. For. So these are all keywords. It won't allow you to create variable names with the keywords. So these rules we must follow while giving the names. See in the given examples, legal variable names. The whatever we given, those are all valid variable names. Here see you have started with a number. So this is invalid. You have used hyphen. Hyphen is not allowed to use. This is also invalid. Used space. Invalid. Okay. So we must follow variable naming rules while giving the names to variables, and multi-words variable names. So whenever you want to give multiple words to variable names, either you can go with the camel case or Pascal case or snake case. Camel case, nothing but except the first word, remaining letters you can start with capital letters. Let's say sum of two numbers. Sum, let's say you want to create sum, sum. Sorry. Sum of two words. Then sum of, you can capital use, sum of digits. This is small s. That is camel case. One more case is Pascal case. You can create variable. That is all you should use capital only. All words, digits. And whereas snake case, instead of using this, you can use underscore in between. That is snake case. Okay. These three cases you can use, and many values to multiple variables. Assigning, we have learned assigning only one value. A is equals to 2, x is equals to some. See, like that we have created some variables. But you can assign multiple values to multiple variables at a time. See, x, y, z are three different variables, and orange, banana, cherry are values that will be assigned to x, y, z respectively. In x it will store orange, in y it will store banana, in z it will store cherry. Whenever you print x, y, z, it prints orange, banana, cherry. But here you should be careful. The number of variable matches with the number of values. Let's say you have three variables and two variables and you are giving three values. So that is invalid, it generates error. One value to multiple variables. At a time you can assign one value. Sometimes we will assign with A is equals to B is equals to 0. So at a time you can assign. Similarly here also x equal y equals z equal, or you are assigning same value. Whenever you print x, y, z, it prints orange only. Unpack collection. Let's say you'll be having a collection of values, those are list, tuple, set, extra, etc. Python will allow you to extract the values into variables. Means, let's say you'll be having a variable that is fruits of list type, having the elements apple, banana, cherry, and you are trying to assign these values, these items to individual variables such as x, y, z, so that in x it will store apple, in y it will store banana, and in z it will store cherry. So that whenever you print x, y, z respectively, apple, banana, cherry will be printed at console. Global variables. Variables will have a scope. The scope is defined as local scope and global scope. Local scope means the variable can be accessed within the block. Within the block you can access that variables are called as local variables. Global variables you can access throughout the program or outside the program. Okay, that kind of variables are called as global variables. Local variables will be declared within the block. Within block that can be accessed in the block only. Whereas global variables will be declared outside of the function so that you can access anywhere in the program. Variables that are created outside of a function are known as global variables. Global variables can be used by everyone, both inside of functions and outside. Let's say you have created a variable x that is outside away sum. That will be acted as global variable because you have declared outside the function. And your program execution will start from here. Whenever a function call is made, your program control immediately jumps to here. Then it tries to print this function. Python is plus x means Python is, what is x? X is not defined in this block, but it is defined globally. So awesome. Then you will get the output. Python is awesome. Default x is a global variable so that you can access inside my func. Another example I have given, x is a variable which is declared globally outside the function and inside the function also. Always local variable will have higher priority. Local variable will have higher priority. So you have created a global variable awesome, and my func, whenever a function call is made, generally your control will jump to here, then it creates a variable fantastic. It will be created one more variable in the stack, separate variable, and Python is plus x. Then it local variable will have higher scope than global variable. Then it prints Python is fantastic. All the statements inside the function is executed so that your control will goes back. There are no more assignments. Then it goes to print Python is plus x. And outside also you'll be having one more global variable so that it prints Python is awesome. Not only that, default if you didn't specify anything outside the function, this will be treated as global variable. But let's say if you want, you have declared inside a function and um, you are trying to write as you are trying to say it is a global variable, then you can use a keyword that is global. Here you have created a function that is myfunc, and global you have declared a variable. Generally your program execution will start from here. Whenever a function call is made, it goes to here and it creates a variable x that it will be considered as global. It gives the scope as global, and then it creates a variable. It assigns the value fantastic to it. Whenever you print, it will come out, your program control will come out from this block, from the function block. Python is plus x. So it is declared as global so that it prints fantastic. Normally when you create variable inside a function, that variable is local and can be used inside the function only. Let's say if you didn't use this global word here, it generates error. Undefined. X is undefined. It can't understand. Now you have declared it as global. That's why you can use anywhere inside the program. Okay? Global scope you will get. To change the value of global variable inside the function, see here, even though you didn't use any keyword, but it will be acted as global, means within the block you can access global block, and you have created global, and you are trying to change same x, you are trying to override with awesome, so that whenever you print python is fantastic will be printed, this awesome will be override with fantastic global variable. There are different data types in python: numeric, dictionary, boolean, set, and sequence. And numeric data types are integer, float, complex. You will be having only one extra data type when you compare with other programming languages, that is complex in numeric. Numeric is used to hold numeric values. Integers, where integers are holds integer of non-limited length. And float is used to hold decimal pointed values which accurate to up to 15 decimal points, whereas in C programming language the precision will be 6, means up to 6 decimal places it can store. And whereas complex data type is used to store complex numbers in the form of a plus ib, let's say 1 plus 2i, but instead of I we will use j here. One example I have given, as you know, already we discussed about type function is used to return the type, data type of a variable. You have stored a number so that it prints num1 is, num1 means it returns the value, 5 is of type, which type it is? Class int. And 2.0, 2.0 is based on the assignment, it is a float data type. So 2.0 is of type class float. And this is complex number. J, instead of I we will use J. So 1 plus 2j is of type class complex. And those are all numeric data types. In sequence data type we will be having strings, list, tuple, set, dictionary. Strings is a sequence of characters, and Python is hello is a string containing a sequence of characters. We use single quotes or double quotes. Anything you can use, either single quotes or double quotes based on your assignment. Let's say if you enclosed in the double quotes or single quotes, it will be treated as a string. See here, we have created two variables, string variables. Those are name and message. Based on your assignment, you have enclosed Python in the double quotation so that it becomes a string that will be printed at console. And message equal I love Python. So message also string data type, because you enclosed in double quotes, it prints at console. Another sequence data type is list, whereas list is a collection of heterogeneous items. It's similar to arrays. Similar to arrays in other programming languages, whereas arrays will store homogeneous data items. Arrays will store homogeneous data items, but whereas list will list, tuple, set, dictionary are collection of heterogeneous data items. Heterogeneous data item is nothing but collection of different data items is heterogeneous data types. And whereas arrays will store the data in contiguous memory location, whereas list cannot contiguous. Wherever enough amount of space is available, there it will store. And in Python, list allows us to store multiple items in a single variable, similar to arrays. Let's say if you want to store ages of students in a class, you can use list. But whereas when you compare with arrays, arrays are static data types. Means if you want to extend the size which is allocated, you can't extend. But whereas list you can extend. And compile time itself, you have to know how much amount of memory is required that you have to know at compile time, whereas a list is not required. It is a dynamic dynamic in nature. So memory will be allocated dynamically, and dynamic arrays that allows us to store items of different data types, and we use square braces. Uh, Arrays we use curly braces, list we use square braces. See here, I have created one list that is ages having the items 19, 26, 29. Here, whatever the elements we have specified, all are of same data type, homogeneous data items. When you try to print, it prints the items which are stored in ages. It is very simple because let's say if you want to print in C, the elements which are stored in array, you have to iterate in for loop. Print I equals 0, I in printf a of I. Like that, you have to iterate in array. But whereas in Python, it is very simple. If you have given print ages, whatever the elements are stored in the ages will be printed at console. And list of items, different items. Python lists are very flexible. You can store data of different data items. You have stored heterogeneous collection of items that will be printed at console. And I have created one empty list. Empty list also will be printed. Print empty list. Simple to print. And the main characteristics, if you want to talk, these three properties we have to check always. Whether the sequence is nothing but collection of items, whether those are ordered and mutable and allow duplicates. Ordered is nothing but always whenever you try to print the items of any sequence data type should be printed in the order. Let's say you have stored in 1, 2, 3 this order, or else 11, 12, 13 in this order. Always whenever you try to print, it should be print in the same order so that you can index. Means for each position you can give some value so that you can index. Lists are ordered so that you can index. Mutability means once after creation, whether it will allow you to make changes, whether it will allow you to add one more item. See, I have created a list A having the elements 11, 12, 13. Later on I want to add one more element, that is 14. Is it possible to add? Yes, it is possible to add in case of list. That's why it is mutable. Is it will allow you to store the duplicates? Yes, it will allow you to store the duplicates. Yes, this is possible because 11 is duplicated and 12 also duplicated. Yes, it will allow you to store the duplicates. How to access the list items? Similar to arrays, in list associated, each element will be associated with index. These are the list items, Python, Swift and C++. Each will have an index 0, 1, 2, so on. So the index of first item is at 0, 1 and so on. And we use index to access the elements of the list. I have a list that is languages and having the elements Python, Swift, C++. Whenever I try to access languages 0, this will be printed as it is at console in the output. And languages which is you didn't enclose in the quotations, that gives the value languages of 0, 0, 1, 2. So in at 0th position we will be having Python, so that Python will be retrieved. Languages of 2 will be printed as it is. Then it gives the value languages of 2, C++. So C++ will be retrieved. Negative indexing is also possible in Python, not only positive indexing. From the last, in Python, a list can also have negative indices. The index of the last element is -1. This is -1. Say, -2, -3. Positive index is 0, 1, 2, so on. Negative index is -1, -2, -3, so on. Okay, the index of the last element is -1. Let's have a small example. I have languages list having these elements Python, Swift, C++. Languages of -1. -1 is -1, -2, -3. What is -1? C++. C++ will be printed. Languages of -3 Python. Okay. That's how index will work, negative indices will work. And slicing is also possible, means some portion of the list you can extract. That is slicing. If you want to access a portion of a list, we can use slicing operator. Slicing operator is this colon, this operator. For example, you have a list that is program, program. My list will be printed complete my list at console, and my list 2 to 5. 2 to 5 means 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Always a range will be having two parameters, start and end. Start will be included, end never, end will be excluded. Means always end minus 1. Till end minus 1 you can extract. So 2 means O, 2 to 4, 2, 3, 4. 5 will not be included as I said. So OGR. 2 to minus 2. Minus 2 means minus 1, minus 2. As I said, end will not be included always. 2 means O, and minus 2 means it will continue up to minus 3. So OGR only for this also. 0 to 3. 0 to 3, 3 will not be included. PRO. Okay. And omitting start and end indexes in slicing. If you omit the start index, the slicing starts from the first element. Similarly, if you want to omit the last index, the slicing ends at the last element. You'll be having my list, a list with a name my list. When you try to print my list, it prints the whole list at console. And my list 5 to end you didn't specify. End, when you didn't specify end value, it continues till the end of a list. So from the 5 means 1, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 means AM you will get. Starting to minus 4. Starting to minus 4 is nothing but minus 1. When you didn't include default, it starts from 0. So minus 4 means P starting 0, PRO. Minus 4 means end and never it includes. So it continues till minus 5, so that you will get PRO. And when you didn't specify start and end, so that complete list items will be extracted. If the sufficient index does not exist in the list, let's say you'll be having only 6 elements in this list, up to 6 index. Up to 6 index you have. If you try to extract the 7th index, it throws index error. If you want to change the list of items, you can change with the index. Let's say you'll be having a list colors having the items red, black, green, and how to change. This is how you can change. What happens here? Colors of 2. Colors of 2 means 2 index green. Green will overwrite with purple. Then what happens again? Colors of 2 you are trying to override with purple, blue. So then it's blue. So whenever you try to print updated colors, you will be having red, black and blue, so that you will get these elements. And you will be having many other methods. That's why Python is simple, and many built-in functions available, so that you can complete your task easily. Append, extend, insert, remove, pop, clear, index, count, sort, reverse, copy. These are the functions which you can perform on list. If you want to add, you can append. If you want to add one item at the end, you can go with append. If you want to add the list, you can go with extend. One list to another list, you can go with extend. Or if you want to add some particular index, you have to go with insert. If you want to remove any element, remove. If you want to pop one element, return one element from the list, you can go with pop. And which removes also, returns and removes. If you want to clear complete list, clear. So that's how you will be having many functions in list. And the other data type is Python tuple. It is also collection of heterogeneous items similar to list. But only one difference is, as I said, you have to check three properties. Three properties. One is whether it is ordered. Yes, it is ordered. Always it will be printed in the same order. Means the way you stored, whether it is mutable. No, it is immutable. It is not mutable. Once after creation, it won't allow you to make changes. It won't allow you to delete. It won't allow you to add the elements. A particular element you can't delete. Whole tuple, if you want to delete, you can delete. Um, let's have one example, and whether it will allow you to store the duplicates. Yes, it will allow you to store the duplicates. Duplicates are allowed, but only the difference is list is mutable, this is immutable, tuple is immutable, and list we will enclose in square braces, tuple you have to enclose in round braces. Whenever you print, it prints in the same order. 1, 2, minus 5 are elements. It is a tuple because you enclosed in round braces. Characteristics, as I said, ordered, immutable, and it will allow you to store the duplicates. As I said, it won't allow you to make changes. Unchangeable it is. Means you can't add, change, or delete items. In this example, given one trial, that is, we have a data type that is cars having BMW, Tesla, Ford, and Toyota. You are trying to modify cars of zero with Nissan. What happens? Cars of zero means this. This you are trying to overwrite with Nissan, but it is a tuple. You can't modify so that it generates errors. See. Delete tuples. At a time, if you want to delete tuple, you can delete with delete property. But one item, if you want to delete, no, that is not possible. Complete tuple can be deleted. And the other data type will be having in sequence sets. Sets is also collection of heterogeneous data items, meaning that elements within a set cannot be duplicated. Only one property. Yes, as I said, we have to check three properties. Whether it is ordered, it is not ordered. Whether it is mutable, normal sets are mutable. Frozen sets are immutable. There are two types of sets. Frozen sets are immutable, whereas normal set is mutable. Is it will allow you to store the duplicates? Yes. No. It won't allow you to store the duplicates. If we want to, let's say, where we have to use, let's say whenever you want to store the marks of students, you can go with list and tuple, because many students may get same marks. Let's say 92 mark may get two or three students can be duplicated. But whereas other number of a person, that is unique, right? That cannot be duplicated. Means no two persons should have same Aadhaar number, right? Similarly, um, similarly, roll number. Each student will contain only one roll number, cannot be duplicated, right? Then we have to go with sets. Uh, Sets we have to enclose in curly braces. Python sets we create placing all the elements inside these curly braces separated by commas. A set can have any number of items that may be different types. And see here, I have created one set having the roll numbers of the students and oval letters that we printed, and hello heterogeneous items. It is a collection of heterogeneous items, mixed data types that all we printed at console. It will be enclosed in curly braces. And one thing you have to remember, it is not ordered, and it is what did I say? It won't allow you to store the duplicates. Let's have see here 2 4 6 2 8. 6 is duplicated twice and 2 also duplicated. When you try to print numbers, automatically 2 and 6 are deleted and it didn't print in any order. That you have to identify here. And no duplicate items, the set, and cannot contain duplicate values, and it won't maintain order also. When you try to print again, if you have written print statement again here, it won't maintain the same order. You may get other order like 2468 or 2648, like that you may get. There is no, means it won't maintain any order. That's why you can't index this. Similar to tuples and list, this you can't index. You can add normal sets, general sets will allow you to make changes, those are mutable. If you want to add any item, you can use add function 32. See here, when you print initial set having the elements 21, 34, 54 and 12, see the way you stored is 21, 34, 54, 12, but the way it is printed, see 34, 12, 21, 54, because it won't maintain order. When you add 32 also, it won't add at the end, somewhere it will add. That's it. If you want to update sets, see here I have companies is one set and other set is tech companies having the elements, that is list having the elements Apple, 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 Google, Apple. Apple is duplicated. When you update tech companies to add to companies, Apple will be removed. See, output Google, Apple, Lactose, Ralph Lauren. It maintains only unique elements. If you want to remove any element, you can use discard function. That element can be removed. We'll be having many other functions also in order to find the length, max, min, sort. All you can do it here. Many other methods are available. And the other one is in sets, frozen set. Whereas sets are unordered, unindexed, won't allow you to duplicates, and it is mutable. Frozen sets are immutable, that you remember. Creates immutable set object from the iterable. Let's say cat, dog, lion. Where is cat in animals? Yes. Is elephant in animals? False. See here, if you try to add, what happens? Frozen sets. But you have to create frozen set something like this. You have to mention frozen set. For normal set, we use curly braces. For frozen set, you have to do like this. When you try to add cherry to these existing fruits, it won't allow you to store the items. It will generate error. Error generated. The main differences are between set and frozen set are set is mutable, frozen set is immutable. Set you can hashable, frozen set is, it's not hashable, it is hashable. Sets you can create in curly braces or tuple having a list. Frozen set must be something like this you have to create. And whereas set will allow you to, because it is mutable, it will allow you to use these functions add, remove. But whereas frozen set will not allow you because it is immutable. Okay. Where we have to use, where you need updations, you go with set. Where you don't want to allow you to make updations, you go with frozen set. And other data type is dictionary. Dictionary is mainly used to store key value pairs. Key and a corresponding value and a name, some name, age, some number. So that kind of name and corresponding value, if you want to give, then you can go with, let's say I want to create one capitals dictionary. Capitals will have state name and capital. State name and capital, similar to Telangana, Hyderabad, Andhra Pradesh, Amaravati, like that. Tamil Nadu, Chennai, right? So that kind of values you will be having. Similarly, if you want to create key and a corresponding value pair, you can go with the dictionary. Here also we have created one dictionary. Country capitals: Germany, Berlin; Canada, Ottawa. These are all keys. Germany, Canada, England are keys. Further corresponding values are Berlin, Ottawa, London. Okay, whenever you try to print country capitals, name of the dictionary is country capitals, so that it prints complete key value pairs. Means instead of with a index, you can access the elements with names, with keys. And dictionary must be immutable and dictionary keys must be unique. Keys of dictionary must be immutable and keys of dictionary must be unique. Here, see here, we have created different types of dictionaries. Valid dictionary, integer as key, and tuple as key. Yes, but here it is invalid. using list. Lists are mutable. Only immutable things you can use here. And this kind of string also is possible. Keys of dictionary must be unique, but whereas here if you see Harry Potter, Harry Potter you have created as key here and here. So it automatically the second occurrence will be considered and the first occurrence will be deleted. Okay. The duplicates are, if there are duplicates, the later value of the key overrides with the previous value. A previous value will override with later value. Okay. That's why you got this new. And accessing, you can directly access with key. Dictionary items by placing the key inside the square braces. Name of the dictionary inside the key, if you have specified, you can access. See here, country capitals Germany. Inside the dictionary country capitals, you will be having a key Germany. What is the value? Berlin. Berlin will be written. Again, England. England value is London. London will be written. Or else you can go with get method also. Either you can go with the dictionary of key, or else you can go with get method. Get method, there is a scores dictionary, physics, maths, and history as keys, having marks. If you want to retrieve physics marks, scores dot get key. So it returns, that will be stored in result. The result you are printing, so 67 corresponding value will be printed. And the other data type we will be having Boolean data type. In order to store true or false, 0 or 1, that is represented integers, we use Boolean data type. But here we have to make sure that capital T and capital F. And the other data types will be having binary data types. Binary data types are used to represent data as a series of binary digits, means computer understandable language, zeros and ones. It is categorized into three types: bytes, bytes array, and memory view. Whereas bytes represent sequence of bytes. Each byte will have an integer value that is between 0 and 255. Generally commonly used to store the binary data such as images. Images and files and network packets will be stored in terms of zeros and ones only. So we enclose numbers with B generally. Here bytes of 65, 66, it returns ASCII values. So ASCII equivalent characters will be returned. And whereas byte array data type, byte array is another data type quite similar to bytes data type. Key difference is mutable, meaning that you can modify the value stored once after creation. So the corresponding ASCII values of this array will be returned, so that you will obtain hello. And memory view is buffer protocol. It is such as byte arrays and bytes. It allows you to access the underlying data of the object without copying it. Without copying it, you can access the object. Means it provides a efficient memory access for larger data sets. And for that, we'll be having the methods memory view constructor we use. We are creating a memory view object directly by passing supported object constructor. The supported object includes byte arrays or bytes and other objects. Let's say you have passed a byte array, that is hello world, that is stored in data. It returns where exactly it has been stored in the memory, that will be stored in view, that will be returned. And from the seventh item, where exactly the memory started, 580. And we will be having another data type, that is none data type. It is an object, its own data type, represents null type of values or absence of any value. Then you can go with none data type. When you try to print, it will print none. So type of X is class none type. And if you want to take input or output, there are two types of input output functions. Input output you can take, that is static and dynamic. Static initialization is nothing but compile time initialization. A is equals to 2, X is equals to hello, hi. or y is equals to 20.5. This is static initialization. Whenever you want to take the input from the keyboard, so generally if you take C programming language, we use scanf function. In Python, we use input function. Input is a function which is used to take the input from the standard input device, that is keyboard. And here one more advantage we'll be having, whatever you have enclosed in between these quotations will be printed at console as a message. In other programming language, you have to use other print extra statements, but in Python, you will be having a flexibility that you can enclose in this quotation, so that that will be printed at console. Later on, whatever the data you have given will be stored in name. So that hello, name, whatever you have given, let's say you have given geeks for geeks, and welcome will be printed as it is. And output will be having print function, as you know already. Print automatically takes new line space. Print is a console output function which prints the enclosed string at console. So Python is powerful, will be printed at console, but you will be having other parameters, other 5 parameters also. Those are object, separator, end, file, flush. Object is value. If you want to print any value, including with that, see here name. Name will return some value, that is geeks for geeks. And separator, if you whenever you are printing more than one values, if you want default print statement will take new line. No, you don't. If you want to end with new line, you can end, or else you can end with a tab space or a space. And file is, it is optional, where the values are printed to file or standard output device. Flush to clear the buffer. And end separator, see, generally you are printing good morning. Without this end, your cursor will go to new line. If you didn't use this, then your cursor will go to new line generally. If you have not written this, you will get in the new line. It is rainy today. But if you want to continue in the same line output, then you can use end with some new line or tab space something. And separator, whenever you are trying to print more than one item which is separated with comma, that will be printed in the same line. But if you want to use any separator, let's say day, month, year, there is a separator required, that is hyphen dash. So like that, if you want to give any separator, you can give. See, new year 2023, see you soon will be displayed. I want to give one separator, dot separator. And print variables and literals, the values which are stored, you should not enclose in the quotations. And plus operator, generally we use to concatenate two strings. And one more other, whenever you are trying to print the values along with some string statements, again and again you have to open. See, let's say the same statement, if you want to print the value of x is, after that you have to close, then here you have to write x, then again, and y is, again you have to close y, like this you have to write, right? Instead of opening and closing continuously like this, you can go with dot format function. What happens here, wherever you want to return the value, here you are trying to return the value, right? That you enclose in curly braces, so that that value will be replaced with this, and second curly brace will be value with this, so that you will get the output. The value of x is 5 and the value and y is 10. Both are same. But instead of opening these quotations again, opening and closing again and again, you can overcome that problem with dot format function. Okay. Thank you. Any questions? Thank you, everyone.